The sky above the scrapyard was a pale red, dust clouds drifting across the broken landscape. Dead ships lay like skeletons, their metal bones rusting in the wind. Old weapons, broken machines, burnt-out engines, all of it forgotten, left behind. After the Great War that no one talked about anymore, Cade wiped the sweat from his forehead. His hands were covered in grease and dirt, his shirt torn at the shoulder. He had been out here for hours, digging through piles of scrap, looking for anything useful. A power cell, maybe. A working battery. Even an old tool could get him enough. Credits to buy food for a few days, but so far he had found nothing. Just junk. He let out a sigh and kicked a piece of metal. It clanged loudly and rolled down the pile. He dropped to his knees beside a rusted transport pod and started pulling. Pieces away. Something about the shape underneath caught his eye. Beneath layers of dust and twisted wire, there was a smooth surface. Not rusted, not broken, something different. Cade's fingers moved faster now. He cleared the junk, heart beating faster. What he uncovered was not a machine part or a fuel tank. It was armor, a full chest piece, silver and dark gray, with faded markings on the side. Strange lights flickered along the edges, as if something inside was still alive. "No way, Cade," whispered. He had seen combat suits in old Holovid's military-grade exo-armor, used by elite soldiers before the war ended. But they were all gone. Lost, destroyed. This one was real. It's heavy, but not too big. Strong. He touched the metal. It was cold, but smooth like glass. He glanced around, then started lifting it out of the rubble. It was heavier than he expected, but he managed to pull it free with both hands. His breath caught in his throat. If he sold this... No, if he fixed it, he could leave this planet. He could start over. No more digging in junk. No more sleeping in burned-out shacks. This was his chance. He turned the armor over, wiping more. Dirt off the surface. There was a slot near the collar, maybe where a helmet would connect. He reached to touch it, then he froze. A low growl came from behind him. "Put it back, or you're next." The voice was deep, cold, and serious. Cade's blood turned to ice. He didn't move. Didn't even breathe. Slowly he turned his head. A figure stood behind him on the ridge, half in shadow, tall, armor-clad. Not like the one he held. This one was bulkier, covered in strange symbols and scratches. A long rifle was slung across her back, and a curved blade hung at her hip. Her face was hidden under a black helmet with a red visor. She took a step closer. "I," said, "put it back." Cade swallowed hard. "I didn't know it belonged to someone." "Doesn't," the figure said. Her voice was steady. "But you're not ready to carry that, not even close." "I wasn't trying to steal it," Cade said quickly. "I just found it. I didn't even know what it was at first." "You knew enough to pull it out?" He looked at the armor again. His hands were still gripping it tightly. "Please," he said. "I need it. I can't stay here anymore." The figure was silent for a long moment. Then she walked down the slope, her boots crunching on the metal debris. Cade didn't run. He knew she could stop him easily if he tried. She stopped just a few feet away. Even through the helmet he could feel her stare. "What's your name?" she asked. "Cade. You're alone." He nodded. She looked at the armor in his hands. "That suit belonged to someone better than both of us." Cade blinked. "You knew them?" Bai fought beside. "Them," she said softly. "They died saving others." He lowered his eyes. "I didn't mean to disrespect them." The woman's tone softened just a little. "That armor still holds something. A memory. A purpose. If you wear it just to survive, it won't listen. To you, listen. It's not just metal. It's part of something greater." Cade looked confused. "I don't understand." "You will," she said. "Maybe. If you live long enough." He hesitated. "So, can I keep it?" She didn't answer right away. Then she pointed to the horizon, where the scrapyard ended and a long mountain ridge rose in the distance. "There's something buried out there," she said. "Something worse than anything in this graveyard. I'm looking for it." "You want me to help you?" Cade asked, surprised. "You pulled that armor out?" she replied. "Now you're part of this." "But I don't even know how to use it." "You'll learn," she said. or you'll die. Simple as that. Cade looked down at the armor. Its lights blinked faintly, as if waiting for his decision. He took a deep breath. "All right," he said. "I'm in." The woman nodded once. "My name's Zara. Try to keep up, Cade." Then she turned and walked back up the hill. Cade followed, the armor slung over his shoulder. He didn't know what he had just agreed to. He didn't know what was waiting beyond the scrapyard, but something inside him told him this was the beginning of something big, something dangerous, and maybe something worth fighting for. Cade followed Zara across the metal hills of the scrapyard. His legs ached, and the armor on his shoulder felt heavier with each step. The wind carried the smell of rust and oil. The only sound was the crunch of boots over scrap. Zara walked ahead, silent and focused. Her steps were sharp. Sure, she knew this place. Cade didn't. They passed giant broken ships, their hulls split open like dead whales. Crushed robots lay in pieces, their red eyes long dark. It felt like walking through a graveyard where machines once breathed. "How long have you been out here?" Cade asked, trying to break the silence. "Long enough," she replied without turning. He frowned. "You live here? No one lives here? They survive." "Big difference." Cade shifted the armor, said the suit belonged to someone. "Who was he? She?" Zara said. Her name was Mira. "Oh, she was my squad leader, best fighter I ever knew. She didn't run when the war ended. She stayed behind, protected people, even after command vanished." "What happened to her?" Zara stopped walking. "She died right here in the scrapyard, fighting something that shouldn't have woken up." Cade looked down. "Sorry." Zara nodded once. "The armor is all that's left. It hasn't chosen anyone since." "Chosen? It's not just gear, Cade. It's alive in its own way. It remembers the one who wore it, and it doesn't like being touched by someone weak." Cade didn't reply. He didn't feel strong. He felt like a scared scavenger pretending to be brave, but he kept walking. They stopped by an old fighter jet, half buried in the ground. Zara climbed inside through a cracked hatch. Cade followed, ducking under wires and torn metal. Inside was quiet, dark, but it felt safe, like the world outside couldn't reach in here. Zara sat down and removed her helmet. Her face was sharp, marked with thin scars. Her eyes were dark, green, focused and tired. She opened a metal case and pulled out a small black cube. It lit up with a blue glow. "Map data," she said. "From before the war, still works." A hologram flickered into the airlines, hills, broken buildings, and a red blinking point near the mountain ridge. "That's where we're going," Zara said. "What's there?" Cade asked. "An old bunker, hidden under the scrap. No one's gone near it in years. Too many defenses. Too many stories." "Stories? Machines that still move? Voices in the dark? People vanish when they go too close." Cade rubbed the back of his neck. "So why are we going there?" "Because there's something inside it. Something powerful. Someone else is looking for it." Cade blinked.
Ooh.
Zara leaned closer. "They call him Varn. Ex-commander. Human. But not like us anymore. He disappeared during the war. Now he's back, and he's building an army, not of people, of machines. Machines. Rebuilt warbits, drones, AI tanks. All pulled from this scrapyard. Repaired, upgraded, controlled." Cade's eyes widened. "Why? Control," Zara said. "He wants to start again, his way." Cade shook his head. "So we're going to stop him? We're going to stop him from getting what's in that bunker." He looked down at the armor. "With just me and you?" Zara smirked. "Not just you and me. It's that armor will help if it accepts you." He sat beside it. "And if it doesn't, then you're dead weight." Later, Cade stepped outside the jet and sat alone on a flat piece of metal. Wind was cold now. Stars were beginning to appear. He placed the armor beside him. "You're supposed to be special," he whispered. "I don't know how. I'm just a junk scavenger." He ran his fingers over the smooth plates. One of the lights flickered. Then another. The armor suddenly shifted. A soft click. Then it opened like it was waiting for him to step inside. Cade froze. He looked around. Zara was still inside the jet, No one was watching. He stood up and slowly stepped into the armor. The chest piece closed around him, smooth and quiet. The metal adjusted to his body, not too tight, not too loose. A hum filled his ears, then a voice, user identified. Testing neural link. Link established. Welcome, Cade, gasped. You can talk. I can do much more. The heads-up display lit up across his vision. Radar, motion sensors, power readings. He moved his arm. The armor moved with him. Light, fast, strong. I can't believe this, he said. You are not ready. But you have courage. That is a start. He smiled a little. Thanks, I guess. Then a warning flashed on the display. Motion detected. He turned quickly. Something was moving near the edge of the scrapyard. Shadows among the twisted metal. Walking slow. Watching, he zoomed in with the visor. A tall machine. Hunched. Glowing eyes. Not a bot he recognized. Its head turned toward him. Then another shape appeared beside it. And another, 3 of them, walking together. Kate stepped back. Zara called out. She came running out, helmet on, rifle in hand. She didn't ask questions. She saw the shapes too, warbits, she said. Old models, but Varn's using them now. What do we do? Fight if we have to. Run if we can. The bots raised their weapons. Laser sights glowed red. Cade raised his arm. The armor responded. Shield unfolded across his forearm. Shots rang out. Red beams hit the shield, bouncing off. Zara returned fire, fast and precise. Cade moved behind. Coover, his heart pounded, but the armor helped him stay calm. A targeting system locked onto one of the bots. He fired. The shot blasted through its chest. Sparks flew. The bot collapsed. He couldn't believe it. He hit something. Zara destroyed another one. The third bot turned to run, but Cade chased it down and knocked it off its feet. A punch from the armor crushed its head. Silence returned. Only the wind spoke now. Zara walked up to him. Not bad, Cade panted. Thanks. I think the armor likes me. She looked at the broken bots. Varn knows we're here now. He'll send more. Then we better move fast, Cade said. She nodded. Get some rest. Tomorrow we head for the bunker. Cade looked out at the dark land beyond the scrapyard. He didn't know what waited for them, but for the first time, he didn't feel weak. The next morning, the sky was gray. Thin clouds moved like smoke across the horizon. Cade sat by the broken jet, the armor resting beside him, its lights glowing softly. He'd barely slept. His mind was full of thoughts of the fight of Zara and of the machines that had found them. Zara stood near the edge of the hill, watching the land ahead with her helmet off. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. She didn't speak much, but Cade could tell she was thinking deeply. He walked up beside her. What's the plan? He asked. We head to the bunker, she said. But not through the open fields. Too easy to track us. She pointed to a narrow path between the scrap piles. We'll go underground. There's an old service tunnel that leads toward the base of the mountains. Cade nodded, and the bots. I'll be watching the sky and the roads, not the old paths, at least not yet. They packed quickly. Zara moved with purpose. Cade followed her, the armor now fully attached to his body. He was still learning how to walk in it without stumbling, but the suit adjusted with each step. As they walked, Cade asked, Why are you doing this? Zara glanced at him. Doing what? Risking your life? Going after this weapon? Could have walked away. She didn't answer right away. Then she said, I saw what war did. I watched good people die. I watched bad people survive. After the fighting stopped, the galaxy forgot about us. Soldiers like me, faces like this. But Varn didn't forget, wants to start the fire again. I won't let him. Cade was quiet. He looked down at his armor. I don't think I'm ready for this. No one ever is, Zara replied. But that suit shows you. That means something. They moved through tight corridors of rusted metal. The sun disappeared behind them as they entered a dark tunnel half buried under debris. Lights on Cade's helmet flicked on automatically. The tunnel smelled of mold and ash. Old pipes ran along the walls. Strange markings were painted over some of the surface's warnings, maybe or signs left by survivors. After a while, they reached a broken doorway. Zara paused and held up her hand. Cade stopped. She crouched, scanning the area with a small handheld device. "What is it?" Cade whispered. "Tripwires," she said. "Old traps?" Varnsman must have passed through here. She disarmed 2 traps quickly, her hands moving with skill. Cade watched closely. "Where did you learn all this?" he asked. "From people who didn't live long enough to teach anyone else," she replied. Cade didn't ask more. After 2 hours of walking, they reached the other side of the tunnel. They came out near a wide pit full of broken towers and tilted structures. The mountain ridge stood far in the distance now, and just beyond the next hill was the hidden bunker. But before they could take another step, a sharp voice called out, "Don't move." Zara and Cade froze. 3 figures stood ahead, half covered in cloaks. Each held a weapon, and their armor was different scrap pieces bolted together, glowing faint blue. Mercenaries, one of them. A tall man with a scar across his mouth stepped forward. "Hand over the armor," he said, pointing at Cade. "Or we drop you both." Zara slowly raised her hands. "You're wasting your time." "We saw the fight last night," the man said. "That armor is active. Arn pays well for working tech." Cade clenched his fists. The lead mercenary smiled. "Easy, boy. You don't even know what you're wearing." Zara spoke calmly. "Let us pass. No one has to die today." The mercenary laughed. "You still don't get it. You're walking straight into Varn's trap. That bunker, it's not just a vault, it's a test. One that kills everyone who fails." Zara stepped forward. "Then let me fail on my own terms." The man raised his gun. Before he could fire, Cade acted. The armor responded faster than he expected. He dashed forward, shield unfolding from his left arm. He slammed into the first mercenary, sending him flying. The second tried to aim, but Zara was already moving. Her blade flashed, quick, silent, deadly. Cade punched the third mercenaries. Chest plate. Metal cracked. Sparks flew. The man collapsed. In less than 10 seconds, it was over. Zara wiped her blade clean and looked at Cade. "You're improving," he caught his breath. "Still feel like I don't know what I'm doing?" "Will." They dragged the bodies behind a collapsed tower and took some supplies, extra energy cells, and a map chip. Cade stared at the map chip. "They were right, weren't they? This bunker isn't just hiding something, it's a trap." Zara nodded. "Yes, but traps work both ways." "What do you mean?" "If we can get inside first, we might be able to turn it against him." Cade thought about it. "You think this weapon can really stop Varn?" "I don't know," Zara said. "It's the only chance we have." As the sun began to lower again, they reached the edge of the bunker zone. From above, it looked like a ruined research base, long abandoned. Towers bent inward like they had been pulled by some invisible force. The ground was cracked. Energy flickered across hidden barriers. Zara activated a signal blocker to hide their movement. "We go in fast. No noise. No mistakes." Mode nodded. But before they moved, he asked her, "What if the armor doesn't work inside? What if it shuts down?" Zara looked at him seriously. "Then you run, and I'll hold the line." He frowned. "You don't leave people behind?" "No," she said, "but I've already made my choice. You still have time to make yours." Cade looked at the armor at his hands. Then he said firmly, "I'm not running." Zara gave a small nod. "Then let's finish this." They stepped over the edge into the shadows of the bunker ruins where old machines waited and the past was not yet dead. The bunker was cold inside, even though the planet's sun still shone far above the surface. Dust hung thick in the air, and the faint hum of old machines whispered in the background. Broken lights flickered on cracked walls as Cade and Zara stepped carefully through the shadowed halls. Cade's armor lit up with soft blue glows, scanning the environment. Sensors beeped quietly, detecting pressure points, weak floors, and hidden dangers. Every step echoed as metal creaked under years of neglect. Zara moved ahead, sharp and silent, watching for traps or enemies. Cade tried to keep up the armor. Still unfamiliar on his body, his movements were slower than hers, clumsy in the heavy suit. After a while, they reached a large chamber. The ceiling had collapsed, and debris was scattered across the floor. At the center stood a pedestal with a small box covered in strange symbols. Zara stopped. This is it, the artifact. Cade studied the box. What does it do? No one knows for sure, Zara said. But it's the key to stopping Varn, or it's the weapon he wants. She moved closer to the box, but as she reached out, a loud alarm rang through the bunker. Red lights flashed. The walls began to shake. Cade looked around, heart pounding. What just happened? Defense systems activated, Zara said. A test. Suddenly, mechanical limbs and panels slid from the walls, revealing turrets and robots. The bunker was a Levand angry. Cade raised his shield. Looks like we're in a fight. The first turret fired a burst of energy. Cade blocked it, the shield glowing bright. He fired back with the suit's integrated blaster, hitting the turret's core. Sparks flew, and it exploded in a shower of metal. Zara darted between cover, firing her rifle with deadly precision.
Ow.
She took out a robot that lunged toward her with claws. Cade tried to keep calm, but the suit was still learning him. A robot aimed a cannon at his legs. He jumped back just in time. The blast tore through the floor where he had stood. Zara shouted, "Watch the floor! Pressure plates!" Cade nodded, focusing. The armor sensors pinged a warning. He stepped. Carefully, they fought side by side, slowly pushing through the room. The robots were relentless. At one point, Cade's arm was grabbed by a claw. He twisted and crushed the limb with the armor's strength. He realized then the suit wasn't just armor, it was alive. It could feel the danger protect him. It responded faster than he could think. After a long battle, the last robot collapsed. The room quieted. Zara looked at Cade. You did well. Cade was breathing hard. Thanks. I'm starting to understand. She smiled briefly, then moved to the pedestal. The box, she said. Cade stepped closer. The box glowed faintly. Symbols shifted on its surface. It's almost like it was watching them. Zara reached out and touched the box. Suddenly the walls flickered with light. The bunker's systems powered up around them. A deep voice echoed in the chamber. User identification required. Cade's visor lit up with new information. Authorization needed to proceed. Zara frowned. Looks like the box wants a key. Cade looked down at his armor's chest plate. A slot had appeared, like a puzzle waiting to be solved. He moved his hand toward it. The box pulsed in response. Suddenly, Cade felt a sharp sensation in his mind, as if the armor was connecting to something beyond the physical. Visions flashed. Before his eyes, battlefields, stars, and a vast network of technology. He gasped. Zara looked at him. Are you okay? Cade nodded slowly, I think. The armor is linked to the box. The voice spoke again.
Access granted.
The box opened, revealing a small device of glowing crystal inside a metal frame. Zara picked it up carefully. This is what Varn wants. Cade felt the weight of the moment. Zara said we need to move. Varn's forces will be here soon.
Right.
Turned to leave the chamber, but the bunker was changing. Doors slammed shut, the lights dimmed. Another voice echoed, this one darker. Colder, you have passed the first test. But the final challenge awaits. Cade's armor buzzed with warnings. Zara readied her weapon. Together, they moved deeper into the bunker, ready for whatever came next. The path beyond the artifact room was narrow and dark. Broken lights blinked, on and off, casting long shadows across the walls. Strange humming sounds came from deep inside the bunker, like the building itself was breathing. Cade followed Zara down the tight corridor. His armor lights glowed gently, scanning the air. The crystal she had taken from the box was locked safely inside a small container in her backpack, still glowing through the seams. This place feels alive, Cade whispered. Zara nodded. It is old war tech, half machine, half mind. Doesn't forget, it watches. Cade felt it too. Every step, every breath, it was like something unseen was tracking them. His armor picked up strange signals, small electrical pulses moving behind the walls. Not just broken wires, something more. After 20 meters, they entered another chamber round. High ceilings and large screens on every wall. The screens flickered to life as they entered, showing grainy images of other worlds, battles, and symbols Cade didn't recognize. Then, a voice came from everywhere. "You have the key, but are you worthy?" Cade tensed, raising his arm. His armor activated a shield. Zara didn't move. "Show yourself." The voice didn't respond directly. Instead, one of the screens changed. It showed a face part human, part machine. Eyes, metal jaw. Varna, Zara said under her breath. Cade recognized the name. "That's him?" "Yes," Zara answered. "Or what's left of him." The screen blinked again. Varn's voice came through the speakers. "You walk in my house and take what's mine, but you do not understand it. That crystal is not a weapon. It is a door. And behind that door is something greater than you can imagine." Cade stepped forward. "If you want it, why don't you come and take it?" There was a pause. Then laughter. "I don't need to. You're already bringing it to me." Suddenly, the floor beneath them shook. A blast door behind them slammed shut. "Trap," Zara shouted. Mechanical arms dropped from the ceiling, and large war drones rolled from hidden walls. Unlike the ones before, these were newer, sleek black. Fast. Cade and Zara took cover behind a metal console. "They were waiting," Cade said, breathing fast. "Then we give them what they're waiting for," Zara replied. She leapt out and fired her rifle. A drone flew up, dodged the shot, and fired back. Cade's armor locked onto it and launched a pulse blast, striking it from the sky. 3 more drones came in from the left. Cade moved quickly, sliding under one and kicking it into a wall. The armor reacted to his speed, syncing perfectly with his reflexes. Zara moved like lightning. She jumped between cover, blasting one drone in the core. Another flew at her with blades out, but Cade tackled it midair, crashing it to the ground. The armor's fist smashed through its head in one hit. The room filled with smoke, sparks, and metal screams. Cade and Zara stood back to back, fighting as one. They had never trained together, but they moved like a team. After 10 long minutes, the last drone fell, its circuits sizzling on the ground. Silence returned. Cade breathed hard. That was new. Zara nodded, wiping sweat from her brow. "He's testing us, watching how far we'll go." Cade looked at one of the screens, still blinking. He said, "The crystal is a door." Zara placed a hand on the container in her pack. "Then we need to find out where it leads." Before he does, they moved deeper into the complex. The halls here were older, colder. Machines lined the walls, sleeping machines, faces half covered in dust. Long arms folded like soldiers waiting for a signal. "This place gives me chills," Cade said quietly. Zara kept walking. "It's a forgotten lab, hidden during the last war. They were building something here, something they didn't want the galaxy to know about." "What kind of something?" Zara didn't answer. They reached a locked metal door with no handle, no keypad, just a small port glowing blue. Zara turned to Cade. "Plug your armor in," he hesitated. "Are you sure?" "It's the only way." Cade touched the port with his armored glove. A long blue wire stretched from his wrist and connected to the door. The moment it touched, Cade's mind was flooded with images. A great war. Machines turning on their masters. A planet-sized weapon. A voice screaming inside his head. "Seal the gate." He pulled back, falling to his knees. "Cade." Zara rushed to him. He blinked. "Dizzy, I saw something. A memory." "Remembers, what did it show you?" "A gate. A giant weapon. Someone trying to stop it." The door in front of them began to open slowly, gears grinding. Cade stood up, shaking. "This armor isn't just tech. It's part of something bigger." Zara nodded. "I know. That's why it chose you. Inside the door was a chamber unlike the others. It was bright white walls, clean floors, working lights. A tall machine stood in the center, glowing faintly. It looked like a giant engine, crossed with a throne. The air was warmer here. Energy felt alive. Zara walked toward the machine. This is the core, the heart of the bunker. Cade looked at it. What do we do now? She held up the crystal. We activate it. Frowned. Wait, what if that's what Vaughn wants? What if activating it gives him access? Zara looked at him. If we don't, he'll find another way. Cade stood still, unsure. Must be another option. Zara placed the crystal into a slot on the machine. The chamber pulsed with light. Then the voice returned. The same one from earlier, but louder now, stronger. Link established. Final sequence unlocked. A screen appeared with coordinates. Star maps. Locations far beyond their own galaxy. Zara stared. It's a map. 2 more bunkers. More gates. Cade's voice was quiet. He's trying to open all of them, Zara whispered, and we just lit the path. The map hovered in the air, like a ghost planets, stars, distant gates shining across the galaxy. Cade stared at the glowing display, feeling like a small piece in a much bigger puzzle. He whispered, so many gates. Zara stood beside him, quiet. Her eyes were fixed. On the lines connecting the star systems. This isn't just a map, she said. It's a path. A plan. Cade looked at her. What plan? Zara didn't answer right away. She stepped forward and touched one of the glowing points. It pulsed under her fingers. During the war, she said, they built these bunkers to hide powerful weapons. The gates weren't just for protection. They were meant to connect everything. A single command could activate them all. Cade's armor buzzed softly. The suit was reacting to the map. What happens if someone opens all of them? He asked. The voice was flat. Then whoever controls the network could rule everything. Cade's stomach turned. And Varn knows this. He was part of it, Zara said. He wasn't just a commander. He helped design the system, he was supposed to protect it, but he changed. He wanted power, she said. The war ended, but he didn't. Eh? Cade backed away from the display, so we shut it down, right? Destroy the crystal, erase the map. Zara didn't move. Cade watched her closely. Something in her face had changed. Zara? She slowly turned toward him. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. We could destroy it. Or, Cade frowned. Or what? She took a step closer. Or we could use it. Cade's breath caught. What are you saying? Zara looked serious now. Vaughn wants this power to control. But what if we used it to stop him? To fix the galaxy? We don't have to hand it over. We take it. We guide it. Cade stepped back. That's not what we came for. It is what I came for, she said. He stared at her, shocked. You used me? Zara didn't deny it. I needed someone the armor would accept. The gate doesn't open for just anyone, but it opened for you. Cade shook his head. No, that's not right. You wanted to fight Varn? You said you were here to stop him? I am, she said. But there's more than one way to win. You've seen what the armor can do. You've felt the power. Why throw it away? Cade felt a storm building inside him. The suit's energy buzzed like it could feel his anger. You're not the person I thought you were, he said quietly. Zara's hand rested near her weapon. And you're not the boy dragging junk in a scrapyard anymore, he clenched his fists. So what now? You going to take it from me? She didn't answer. The lights in the room flickered. Suddenly the screen behind them changed. Varn's face appeared once again, part machine, part man. I warned you, he said. Greed always wins. Zara spun toward the screen. Stay out of this, but Varn laughed. You activated the map. That's all I needed. Now I can follow it. Cade's visor lit up with alerts. Incoming signal detected. Coordinates traced. Cade gasped. He locked onto us. He used the crystal like a beacon. Zara slammed her fist into the control panel. No. The walls shook. Alarms rang out. Above them, heavy metal doors began to open. Something was coming. Outside the bunker, black ships were falling from the sky, silent, fast, sharp like blades. Varn's machines were arriving. Cade turned to Zara. "We have to run. Now." She nodded. Agreed. They grabbed the crystal and ran down the corridor. Lights flashed red. Security turrets popped from the ceiling, targeting the intruders. But this time they weren't aiming at Cade and Zara. Behind them, spider-like machines burst through the walls. Arms, soldiers, long legs, red eyes, sharp claws. Cade turned and fired. A blast of energy ripped through one bot, but three more climbed over it. "Keep moving," Zara shouted. They reached the main exit hall. The blast doors were sealed. Cade ran to the control panel. "I need time." Zara turned to cover him, her rifle firing non-stop. One bot jumped at her. She dodged, rolled, and sliced it apart with her blade. The armor on Cade's hands glowed brighter. He pressed into the panel. Link established, opening doors. The doors slowly began to rise. Outside, the evening sky had turned orange, smoke filling the air, but then another sound. A thud, heavy. Repeating, Zara turned to the side entrance and froze. A tall figure stood in the shadows, broad shoulders, black armor, one red eye glowing. It was Varn. He stepped into the light slowly, one hand behind his back, the other resting on a silver staff that buzzed with power. "I expected more," he said coldly. Zara raised her weapon. "Stay back, Varn. Didn't stop. You found the boy, trained him well, but he is still weak." Cade stepped forward, not weak, just human. Varn looked at him. "That armor you wear was meant for legends. You are not one." Cade's voice didn't shake. "Maybe not, but I choose to fight." Varn raised his staff. Zara fired, but the shot bounced off a shield around him. "Run." She shouted to Cade. He hesitated. "Go," she said again. "I'll hold him." Cade's heart screamed, "No." But he turned and ran through the door as it opened fully. Zara faced Varn alone. Outside, the wind blew hard. Cade ran down the hill, smoke rising behind him. The bunker groaned as the machines inside fought. Then a blast of light shot into the sky. Cade looked back. The bunker entrance was gone. Buried, Zara was nowhere to be seen. Cade fell to his knees. He held the crystal in his hand. "It's glow dim now," he whispered. "Why did you trust me, Zara?" The armor buzzed gently, as if trying to comfort him. Above, the stars shined silently, but Cade knew the fight wasn't over. It had just begun. Cade sat on the dusty ridge overlooking the ruins of the bunker. The wind blew ash and smoke through the air. His hands were still shaking. The crystal in his bag had stopped glowing. The armor on his body was silent, no voice, no guidance, just heavy metal and silence. Zara was gone. He didn't know if she was alive, or trapped, or couldn't finish the thought. "I should have stayed," he whispered to himself. But deep down, he knew if he had stayed, they both would have been lost. The sky was turning dark. A storm was coming from the far side of the mountains. Cade had no shelter, no backup, no plan. Still, he stood up. He looked back at the cracked ground where the bunker used to be. His visor scanned it one more time. No signs of movement. No life. Cade turned and began walking east, toward the scrapyard where it all began. That was the only place he knew. The next morning, Cade reached a broken relay tower on a hill. It was half buried in junk, but the antenna was still standing. He climbed inside and connected the armor's interface to the old terminal. Static filled the screen. Then a message appeared. "Accessing long-range comms. Signal trace found." Cade's eyes widened. "What?" The screen blinked again. Small, low-quality video feed loaded. It was Zara. She was alive. Her face was bloodied, one eye swollen. Sparks flickered behind her, but her voice was clear. "Cade, if you're hearing this, I'm still inside. Varn didn't kill me. Not yet. He wants something from me. He thinks I know how to unlock the second gate, but I won't give it to him. You have the crystal? Keep it safe. Keep it away from him. And listen, You're not just a boy with armor anymore. That suit chose you because you care. That's your strength. Find the next bunker before he does. The galaxy doesn't need more war. It needs people who know when not to use power. The message ended. Cade sat back, stunned. She was alive, but for how long? He stood up. The armor buzzed again, finally awake. New signal path detected. Track. Coordinates uploaded. The map displayed inside his visor. Blinking blue point far beyond the scrapyard in a desert region called Red Hollow. Another gate, another bunker. Cade tightened the straps on his armor. All right, he said. Finish what she started. Red Hollow was far, too far to walk. Cade remembered the old flight yard just outside the city ruins. It had once launched scout ships during the war. Most were broken now, buried under rust and dirt. But maybe one still worked. He traveled by night and hid by day. Varn's drones flew across the sky, now fast, black, like birds of prey. They scanned the ground constantly. Cade stayed low. His armor helped. It could mask his heat signature for short bursts. It saved his life more than once. After 2 days, he reached the flight yard. Tall towers leaned like dying trees. Runways stretched out under the morning sun. He climbed into a half-buried hangar, found what he needed. An old scout flyer, small, fast, low range, dusty but intact. The armor scanned it. Power core, 4% remaining. Flight time, 20 minutes. Cade frowned. Not enough. He searched the hangar and found a broken drone with a still-working energy cell. After some work and 3 small electric shocks, he installed it into the flyer. The system blinked green. Power core, 56%. Flight time, 3 hours. Better. Cade said with a small smile. He climbed in, started the engine, and took off toward Red Hollow. The flight was bumpy. Winds pushed the flyer from side to side. Lightning cracked in the distance. But the view was stunning: red cliffs, deep canyons, glowing rivers of metal and lava from old mining stations. He reached the outskirts of Red Hollow just before sunset. The ship beeped fuel low. He set it down on a rocky platform. The armor pinged the signal again. The next gate was close. Cade stepped out into the heat. The rocks burned under his boots. Sandstorms swirled in the distance. He walked carefully, scanning for movement. Suddenly a voice came through his helmet. You came. Fast. Too fast. Cade froze. Who's there? A figure stepped from behind a rock. It wasn't Varn. It was another human, maybe older than Cade. With short black hair and a cybernetic eye, he raised his hands. Easy, I'm not your enemy. Cade stayed alert. Who are you? Names? Bren. I used to serve with Zara. She sent me a signal from the bunker. I've been tracking Varn too. Cade lowered his weapon slightly. If you know Zara, prove it. Bren smiled. She hates canned food. Always burned her rations on purpose. Used to say, better smoke than slime. Cade nodded slowly. That's her. At. Bren pointed to the cliffs. The next gate's below us, but it's locked. At. Needs 2 keys. Cade frowned. I only have 1. Bren reached into his pack and pulled out a glowing shard. Now you have both. Cade stared. Where did you get that? Found it in a crashed transport near the battlefield years ago, Bren said. Didn't know what it was. Now I do. Together they approached the canyon's edge. Below a massive round door was built into the cliff face, ancient, cracked. Humming softly, Cade and Bryn inserted the 2 shards. Into twin slots, the door groaned. Lights ignited along the stone. The gate began to open. Inside was a new bunker cleaner. Brighter, but colder. The armor buzzed again. Unknown energy signature detected. Cade looked at Bren. Something's alive in here. Bren nodded. Be ready. The hallway ahead lit up as they entered. And then, from the dark, a voice echoed, not Varn's. Not Zara's. Something older. Access confirmed. Guardian awakened. The floor shifted. A giant shape rose from the far side of the chamber, twice the size of a man. Glowing armor, no face, just a pulsing core at its chest. The guardian it took, one step forward, and spoke. Only one may continue. The other must fall.